Shalom, shalom to 12 tribes, scattered far and near. Shalom. As always, I want to start off by saying, Call Halor Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Rakat Kadash. And that's all praises to the Heavenly Father, in the name of His only begotten Son, to the Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors and salutations to the elders and leaders of the nation of Yasha'Allah that push and teach this truth, and truth in sincerity. I also want to say shalom to the 1/3, that great multitude that consists of the men, women, and children that believe wholeheartedly on the scriptures, working out their own salvation with fear and trembling. I want to say shalom to you. I titled this lesson, The Narrow Path to Salvation. The narrow path to salvation, because it is what the Bible refers to as a straight and narrow path. Okay, meaning it's not easy. This walk is not meant to be easy. It's going to be very difficult if you want to make it to the end. Difficult in the form of trials, tribulations. Okay, there's going to be obstacles, situations at times that's going to make you want to abort the race. The Bible refers to this walk of faith as a race and a fight. Okay, so it's going to be things that make you want to deviate from the path. Okay, take a different route because this is too much. Okay, but nonetheless, we must endure and stay on that narrow path. Okay, the world is going to go to Broadway. It's going to Broadway, which is the easy way. It's the way of the flesh, the way of this world system. Okay, and we're going to read that many enter in that way. But the narrow path is what's required for this walk of faith, for us to make it to salvation, to receive salvation, receive those crowns. All right, so that's what we're discussing in this lesson. Let's start it off let's get 1 Corinthians 9:24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. Okay, so like we said, the Lord refers to this walk as a race. Okay, this is how Paul is wording it or writing it. Okay, but we must run as if only one could get the prize. Many run in this race, many seeking salvation, but we want to have a mindset is like, hey, I want to make it to the finish line. Verse 25, but every man that striveth for masteries is temperate in all things. Temperate, self-control, discipline. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. So the world strives for incorruptible stuff. Okay, they're able to be temperate and discipline themselves, but the crown is temporal, such as what? The 9 to 5, your career, okay, your diploma, your degree, PhDs in sports, okay, a championship, boxing, championship belt, championship trophy, football. All of these things are perishable, but we're running this spiritual race for what? An eternal, incorruptible crown. Verse 26, I therefore so run, not as uncertainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Meaning we're not just running aimlessly. We have an aim, we have a goal, we have a target. Our target is what? Receive salvation, make it into the kingdom. For the Lord to tell us, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Verse 27, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest by any means, when I have preached unto others, I myself should be a castaway. Bringing the body into subjection goes back into discipline, temperance, self-control, being able to deny oneself in order to what? Do what's necessary to receive the Spirit, to follow after the Spirit, subjugating your flesh, okay, putting your flesh under the authority of your spirit. All right, all of this is necessary. Let's look at 2 Timothy 2:5. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. So it's just like in the world of sports or anything that you're competing in. Okay, you have to strive lawfully. If they come to find out they win or something in the sports, they got what they call steroids or performance enhancement drugs. Let it come to find out after the matter that they cheated. They receive performance enhancement drugs. They oftentimes they strip them from that win. They want a trophy or somewhere, it don't count. We got to strip you of this belt, okay, because you was found with steroids, performance enhancement drugs. Okay, well, spiritually, only way we make it too, we have to strive or complete this race lawfully, meaning what? The way the Lord told us to run. There is no shortcuts. There is no other way outside of what the scriptures require us to receive the kingdom. Okay, and all of that go back to us staying on that straight, narrow path. All right. Let's get that. Matthew 7 and 13. It says, enter in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth into destruction, and many there be which go therein. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leadeth into life, and few there be that find it. So when it says the straight gate, okay, straight also once again goes in a place of difficulty. Very narrow path, very straight gate. Okay, you got to walk specifically the way the scriptures require us to get in. Picture a very narrow path with a straight gate, so narrow what you can't go in both shoulders for. You got to turn a certain way. You got to maneuver a certain way. That's the only way you're going to make it through that little, that crack, that certain narrow path. Okay, when you just apply that spiritually. You're not going to be based off of how we say or the world say or anybody else. We have to make sure, okay, that this walk, in order to complete this spiritual race, is exactly, we entering in exactly the way the Lord requires. All right, now, verse 14 again, it says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth into life, and few there be that find it. So that lets you know the majority of people would never find the way. Why? Because they're going to prefer the broad way. Okay, verse 13 lets us know the broad way leadeth into destruction, but the majority of people rather go that broad way, because what the world teaches us is safety in numbers. Well, I gotta be right. Everybody else is doing it. That's the way of the world. Look at all these people believe this. All these people doing this. I feel safer going with the crowd, but that's not the way the Lord works. Okay, he's never worked that way. The Lord is never found in the majority. Okay, so picture, they got a road I was looking at yesterday. It's built in China. It's a 36-lane highway. 36 lanes. Okay, it looks crazy looking at it. I was looking at the picture on the internet. Okay, well, that's the way of the world. This gotta be right. Everybody's going. Everybody's that way. And then you look at the straight, narrow path. You might have one long road. Look like it's leading in the middle of nowhere. Just one long, narrow path. Enough for one car to go. All right, well, that's what the Bible is showing us. If you put it in symbolism, that's what the straight, narrow path will be spiritually, meaning it's not going to be the popular way. Okay. Let's get Luke 13:23. Then said, what do you want? Okay, verse 24. Luke 13:24 says, strive. Well, yeah, let me read 23 first. It says, then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said it to him. So he has a question. He said, are there few people that's going to be saved? Now look at what Yahweh shall respond, verse 24. He says, strive to enter in at the straight gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. See that? The straight gate, the majority is not going to be able to walk that walk. That path is too narrow. It's too difficult. It's too long. It's isolated. Everybody can't come with you on the narrow path. Remember, this road is big enough. It's like one at a time. Look at verse 25. Well, let me read 24 again. Strive to enter in at the straight gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in and shall not be able. All right. Let's get a precept. Let me go into the Apocrypha now. This is 2nd Ezra 7:1. Second Ezra 7:1. It says, and when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me an angel, which had been sent unto me the nights afore. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, hear these words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my God. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea and look upon it to rule it? If he were not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? So this sea is a representation or symbolic of the kingdom. Okay? It's set in a broad place, but in order to get to that sea, you got to pass through a very narrow entrance way, it's saying. Now, we know that narrow way, according to the precepts we read, is the way that leadeth to salvation. So in order to get to the final destination, which is salvation, we have to enter that very narrow path. Verse 5 again, it say, Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and rule it? If he were not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? Verse 6, there is also another thing. A city is built and is set up on a broad field, and it's full of all good things. This city, once again, is talking about the kingdom. Verse 7, the entrance thereof is narrow, see that? And is sit in a dangerous place to fall, like as if it were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. See that? So this is referring to the kingdom again, but it's only one narrow path. And on one side is fire, the other side is water. So it's like you walking a tightrope. Okay, we've seen on movies or whatever, or somebody walking the plank blindfolded or whatever, and it's walking the plank or a tightrope or whatever. That's symbolic of the narrow path. You turn too far to the left, boom, fire, which is destruction. Burn up. Go too far to the right, the other side, water, drown. Okay. Look at verse 9. If this city were now given into a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? See? And passing that danger could go into everything that's prophesied to come. The Bible talks about a time of trouble, Jacob's trouble. Okay, even in our individual lives, those trials, those storms that come. The Bible talk about your house being built on the foundation of Yahushua. For when the wind and storm and the rain came, it was able to stand. See, all of that is a part of this narrow path, walking the narrow path. Trial, tribulation, struggle, hardship. That's why I say many will seek to enter, but they won't be able. Oh, this is too much. Okay, I'd rather go. What do you mean keep depending on the Lord? Keep praying and fasting. The world has a better way. Okay, I could light this blunt up and ease my mind. I could get drunk and ease my mind. I could just listen to the information of the world, have a pity party and misery like everybody else, because that way is more comfortable to our flesh. See, that's why it's so hard to stay on that straight and narrow, because you constantly battling spiritually. See, 2 Corinthians 5:7. The broad way is the way of the world. That's the way of the flesh. So it's going to always be comfortable. That straight and narrow requires growth. Okay. Remember, we read that no man is crowned except he strive lawfully. You got to stay in the spirit. This is a spiritual walk. That's the narrow path. 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. See, to walk by faith is not comfortable. We got many, many examples to why forefathers had to what? They had to walk by faith. That's not the way of the world. That's not the broad way. That's not the easy way. That takes a spiritual training, discipline, focus, constant focus and discipline to keep walking that straight and narrow. Okay, it's easy to take a detour. Okay, man, this road ain't leading me nowhere. I look like I'm in the wilderness. I've been in the wilderness too long. I've been going in the same direction. This look like nothing but trouble and hardship. And I'm the only car on this road, feel like. I don't see no other cars in sight. Hell no, let me exit off this next exit and go where I see the rest of the, see? That's so much easier and tempting, but that's not the way. The Lord says, stay on the straight and narrow. It's uncomfortable, gonna be difficult, okay? But we promise to arrive at the destination if we don't detour, if we don't quit, if we don't faint, all right? We have reassurance. Let's see, what did Yahweh Shah tell us? Let's get it, Hebrews 13:5. Because it's very tempting, once again, to make a detour off that straight, narrow path and go the way everybody else. So we have to remember the encouragement of the Lord. We have to remember what the scriptures told us. Hebrews 13:5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have. For he has said, I will never leave nor forsake thee. We got to remember that. The Lord has promised he would never leave or forsake thee. So when we walking, when we driving that thin, narrow path, okay, you have to constantly remember that. You're not the only car on that road. You're not the only hitchhiker. You're not the only one that's traveling that path. It seem like it, it feel like it. Okay, and even if you are the only one you see, what? The Lord is with us. And we know according to the word, where he be for us, who could be against us? So remember, we never traveling alone. The Lord is carrying us the whole time. All right. Matthew 28:19. He said, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I commanded to you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. So the Lord has promised to be with us always. So we have to keep reminding ourselves that when we traveling this straight, narrow path, you got to keep remembering the Lord is with me. He said he'll never leave me. Okay. John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation. You gonna have problems. We gonna have tribulation. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Long as you continue to stay on the path, okay, we have victory at the end. Let's get Hebrews 12:1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with such a great cloud of witnesses. Who are all these cloud of witnesses we have for examples? Yahweh Shah is our main witness example, but whenever we read the scriptures, the prophets of old, okay, you got the disciples, okay, the patriarchs, okay, everybody we read about contained in these holy scriptures are our cloud of witnesses. Give us encouragement to keep traveling, to keep moving, to stay on the narrow path. Wherefore, seeing we are compassed about with such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that do so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. See, it's likened it into a race again. But notice what it says. It says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that do so easily beset us. That weight is that thing. Each and every one of us have something in this flesh that if we're not careful, it's going to keep us at the start line. It's going to keep us from completing the race. Some type of sin, may be a flaw in your thinking, some type of thorn in the flesh that we have to constantly be aware of. We have to constantly give to the Lord, because if not, that's that thing that's going to weigh us down. Imagine running a race. You're in a marathon, you're running a race with ankle weights on. Okay, so the Bible is telling us cast off those weights. Put off that sin. What is that sin, or what is that thing that constantly have you stumbling? Constantly have you repenting over and over for the same thing that's keeping you from growing, keeping you from running this spiritual race. That's what it's saying. Identify what that is in your life and cast that away. Let me read it again. Wherefore, seeing also we are compassed with such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin that does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking into Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith. For the joy was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. So Yahushua is our ultimate example. Look at everything he had to go through and endure. 33 and a half years. Okay, but what? He kept his eye on the prize. And that's the same thing we have to do. All right. 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. So again, Paul is likening his spiritual walk into a course, a race, also a fight. Verse 8, herefore is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give to me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing, because that's what we're racing for. That's what we're fighting for, salvation. Okay? 1 Peter 2:11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims to abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. That go back to those weights that sin that do so easily beset us. Those spiritual weights that try to weigh us down in the spirit. The things that we have to cast off, get rid of. If we're going to complete this race, if we're going to make it to the finish line, okay, we have to eliminate those weights, those sins. Okay, notice it says, dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims. Why is it calling us strangers and pilgrims? Because this is not our rest. We're citizens of the kingdom. We just passing through this world. Abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. Those spiritual weights that's warring against our soul, trying to weigh us down so we can't get to the finish line. Okay, part of staying on this narrow path. Part of walking through the straight gate is you identifying those things within us that's prohibiting us from finishing this race. Okay, whatever those sins are, examining ourselves and giving it to the Lord. Okay, 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua Mashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. So the Bible tells us to constantly take that spiritual inventory of ourselves. Examine ourselves. How do we do that? By using the word of the Most High. Okay, going through this Bible. What does the Lord say do? What does he don't do? This is why his laws and statutes and commandments, all of those things come in, because we can see what offends the Lord. See, so we're examining ourselves through the spirit. All right. What are my weaknesses? What are the things, just like in a competition? You got a fighter, the heavyweight fight, okay? You examining your strength and weakness. And what are my opponent's strengths and weakness? What things do I need to improve on? If I don't get this corrected before the fight, okay, this is going to be a liability for me. Same thing with a race. What is your spirit? What is your physical condition? Okay, what I need to slim down in order to complete this race. This is a marathon. I got too much weight on me. Okay, I gotta get my heart rate up more. All of those things we just applying spiritually. So identifying ourselves spiritually. Ecclesiastes 9:11. It says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not given into the swift, nor the battle to the strong. See that? The race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. Okay, but what? This is a spiritual race of endurance. Okay, that's why it says Matthew 24:13, where he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, we have to stay on that narrow path all the way into the end. This is going to be all kind of, once again, trials, tribulations, demons, all type of temptations is going to be trying to get us to deviate. They want us to deviate, neglect the path, the mission at all costs, but we got to stay faithful all the way to the end. What's that? Acts 14:22. Started 21. It says, and when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, they returned again to Lystra and to Lycaonia and to Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith. And then we, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. So they were encouraging one another. Okay, this is what we're doing. It's the point of these lessons, the point of you listening, to build up your spirit. But notice what it said at the end of 22, and that we through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of Yahweh. So to stay on that narrow path, to make it to the end, it comes with much tribulation, showing you it's not going to be an easy path. Okay, but there's no other way. John 10:1. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. See, you can't get in no other way. I don't care how hard or difficult it is, we must all travel that straight and narrow in order to receive that salvation. Okay, anybody climb up any other way, okay, the Lord likens you right here to a thief and a robber. You didn't strive lawfully, okay? It's like you found a shortcut, you cheated. Going back to the natural competition, you took PDEs, performance enhancement drugs, okay? So what, your crime, you didn't strive lawfully, it don't count. You're not going to get in through Buddha. You're not going to get in through the philosophy of the world. Okay, white Jesus, pagan Christianity. You're not going to get in none of those ways. That's why it says many gonna seek. Many call themselves believers, this or that Christian, but what? It said they're not gonna get in. Okay? It's that narrow way, the way that seems weird, the way that the world says occult, strange, what are they doing? Okay? That's that straight and narrow. Okay? Very isolated path. Proverbs 4:23. Let's go and start at 20. It's Proverbs 4:20. It says, my son, attend to my words and incline thy ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thy eyes. Keep them in the midst of thy heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health unto all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a forward mouth, and perverse lips far from thee. Let thy eyes look right on, and let all thy eyelids look straight before thee. Stay focused, spiritually locked in, focus. Keep your eyes on the prize. 26, plunder the path of thy feet, and let all of thy ways be established. What does it mean, plunder the way? Consider your way. Okay, think upon what you're doing. Think upon every move. Think on how you're traveling. Okay, but think what? Spiritually. Stay in the spirit. Make sure you're making every move according to the spirit. Verse 27, turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Remember 2 Ezra, the 7th chapter? It talks about that narrow way. On one side is fire. On the other side is water. See, that's what it means. Turn not to the right, not to the left. Don't get distracted. Don't get off the path. Don't let your flesh entice you. Or don't, when it says, the Bible tells us, let no man take thy crown. Don't listen to some outside ungodly information. That's not the spirit of the Lord. Considering any situation in your life, the Bible tells us to test the spirits to see if it's of the Lord. If it's not lining up with the word of the Lord, don't turn to it. Okay, that's the only way you're going to complete this race. Only way you're going to finish the fight. All right. Let's see. Let's look at let's get Matthew now. Matthew 22 and 12. Let's get that. Because remember we read John 10 and 1. Okay, any man that climbing up any other way is like a thief and a robber. Okay, it's only one road. One road, that's the narrow road. That's the narrow path. All right, you find any other, you know how life is sometimes. Man, I found a shortcut. We could go this way. You ain't got to go through that long road, man. Just cut this way. You gonna cut through there, you'll lead you right there. You going the long way, man. You going through all that. That's like a dead end, that desert road. Why you doing all that when you just go right there, make that left, you right there? Okay, now you try that spiritually and see where you in. Your destination is going to be hell. Okay, that does not work with the Lord. We have to stay on the straight and narrow. It's the only way. So this is Matthew 22 and 12. Where I want to start it. Let's start at 8, okay? Matthew 22 and 8. It said, then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as you shall find, bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all, as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither having no wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king unto his servants, bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. See? So this wedding banquet is talking about, basically, that's the feast of the Lord at his coming. That's the kingdom. So he thought he good. He's sitting in there. He was called. He got the invitation. Okay, he in there, but all of a sudden the Lord noticed, wait a minute. How you in here, but you don't have the proper attire? You don't have the proper wedding garment. Bind him up, get him out of here. He don't belong in here. That's somebody who trying to take a shortcut. Thought they got in, found some other way, the way of the world. I got my own religion. I got my own God. Worshiping the ancestors. The religion of your slave masters. Dogma pagan Christianity. Okay? They found some other way that they thought they was good. When the Lord looked at them, he know that, hey, you don't have on the proper attire. Get up out of here. All right? That's the shortcut. That's any other road you decide to take besides the straight and narrow. See? Precept on that when say many are called, few are chosen, showing you this world is for many. That's the broad way, but the kingdom, okay, only a few. That's 2nd Ezra 8 and 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High had made this world for many, but the world to come for few. I will tell thee a similitude, Ezra, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee, that it giveth much more whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this present world. So the angel is giving Ezra a similitude to show or help understand when it says this world is for many, but the world will come for few. And he used like earthen vessels. Okay, if you take something made of wood, that comes in much more abundant. You can find that anywhere, sticks, stubble, wood laying around. Okay, but gold or gold dust, okay, that's rare. That represents the remnant, the elect. The earthen vessels represents what? The broad way. That's everybody. So that's the similitude he's showing them. He say, just like you can find earthen vessels everywhere, okay, with this world, the people of this world, okay, that's going to be everywhere. But those who worthy of the kingdom are like gold. That's going to be rare, which all takes us back to what? That straight, narrow path Yahushua was talking about. That straight gate. Verse 3, there be many created, but few shall be saved. See? And then 2nd Ezra 9:21. Let me get that. Where I want to start. Let me get to the point. I read 22. 2nd Ezra 9:22 says, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. So the grape in the Lord's plant represents his remnant, the elect. That's the kingdom, the children of the kingdom. The multitude is the Broadway. That's the world. That's the majority. Look at what the Bible says. Let the multitude perish then. Okay? They're going to go to Broadway, which was born in vain. But let my grape be kept in my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Those of us who the Lord is pruning. That's why the straight gate is so hard. That's why that narrow path that you've been walking is so difficult. You want to quit. You want to deviate. You want to throw in the towel, because when you look at the Broadway, you look at everybody else, highways, cars full, multiple lanes, whizzing by you. Look like they all getting to their destination. Boom, 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 just zooming you by, passing you by, while you still on this long, lonely, seem taking you through the wilderness. Man, like I just been going through this wilderness on this same road, 40 years, no change. Okay, but little do you know how close you are to the end. Little do you know the finish line is right there. Right there. You might not remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. You might not be able to physically see it, but spiritually you see it. All the prophecies are telling you we right here. All you had to do was run a little bit longer. Fight a little bit more. Keep fighting a little bit more. Keep punching. Keep one foot off the other. The finish line right there. Okay? But you decide to deviate, exit off. Now you going the way of everybody else to the road of destruction. Okay? Don't let that be you. Right? So I'm gonna go ahead and close it out there. It's a little more, but I'm gonna keep it there. I guess that's good enough. So I pray that this lesson was edifying. Okay, so stay on that narrow path. Whatever you do, keep running, stay on that narrow path. All right, so I pray this lesson was edifying. Till next time, shalom. Yeah.